Oh, just going to make a video about fitting a Chinese diesel heater on a boat. This boat never had anything on any diesel heating at all. Erbispacher, I'd loved one but I couldn't afford it one, and when I was shown and told about these Chinese diesel heaters I couldn't believe what you was getting for your money, so I bought one off eBay, £130. They're down to about £100 now, I've seen them. But I had it on my bench at home, tried it for about 4 days, never turned it off, just had it running completely going all the time. After 4 days, fantastic, I couldn't fault it. There's some great videos on YouTube, people telling you about the consumptions, about the heat output. There's one guy in America who strips an Erbispacher, I think they're D5s, down, and a Chinese diesel heater 5 kilowatt down. Basically the Erbispacher's far better built. The castings, they're more built for the marine environment, all the electrical fittings are all sealed, and it's just better made equipment. But £1,800 as opposed to £300. And I say 300 because that's what you've got to spend on extra pieces to get it all up in your boat. I have anyway, that's what I've spent. And I'll go through that a bit later. But at the end of the day, they're giving out the same heat. They're doing exactly the same thing, but for a lot less money. So anyway, I fitted this in my boat about 2 months ago. I'm not down, I don't live on it or anything. I've been down on a few occasions, well, probably about 3 or 4 different occasions a week at a time. The heat has been running non-stop. More in the evening. It goes up to, on the scale, on the heat settings, it goes up to 5. I have it running at about 3 in the day, probably about 3.5 on an about 3.5 on the evening. Lower it down to about 1.7, 1.8 in the day, and overnight again about 1.8. I've got 3 outlets on mine. I've got one where I'm sitting now in the upper saloon, which is just a canvas covered saloon. I've got one down in the lower saloon, which is a main cabin part, and I've got one up front in the front bedroom area. Basically all the piping is 75 or 80mm pipe, but the pipe I've run up to the front because I only need a small flow just to keep the chill off the bedroom. That's a 55mm pipe, and that was done because it was a lot easier to drill any holes I've got to take through cupboards and bulkheads and different things, so that was a lot easier. But I'll show you the unit, and I'll just show you a couple of little things that I have added, or what I think you should think about when you fit them. Just 1 second. Right, this is a 34-foot like sports cruiser. It's an old Bayliner. It used to have 2 big 7.4 petrol engines in. I've took them out. Just fitted 2 150 diesels now, so it won't get on the plane. We just go along at 10 knots. But it's lovely and economical, reliable, and usable. But I fitted the actual unit down in the engine bay. That's it there. It's a 5 kilowatt. It's an 8 kilowatt unit, but I take that with a pinch of salt. I think they're only about 5 kilowatt. So when you buy an 8 kilowatt, I've been on people who've got 5 kilowatt ones, and it's about the same heat, exactly the same heat as this one. So I think even the 8 kilowatts, although they're advertised at that, they're only 5. The ducting you can see I've used, that one there is the main inlet ducting, but I've used the same on the outlet for the heat going up to my cabins, mainly because I'm not a cheapskate, but I have to do things on a budget. The actual Erbispacher or normal ducting is probably, you can get it from anything from about £7 a metre up to £20 odd a metre. This, if you have a look on the web, you'll find this stuff for about £40 for 10 metres. It's rated up to 160 degrees, but it's double insulated. You've got an inner pipe which is foil the same as the one you can see, and that's 80mm, which easily compresses down onto the 75mm inlet and outlet. Then you've got like, it looks like a fiberglass, probably about 20mm thick insulation around that, and then the outer foil on the outside. You don't lose any heat through the pipe like you do the normal black ducting. It's a lot cheaper and it works really well. Why I'd say you have to pay about £300 in total. You have to buy that steel frame the unit sits on, so the exhaust can come out and you've got room underneath it. You have to buy, I had to buy a slightly bit more exhaust piping because the piece they give you is only quite short, and when you fit the exhaust, being on a boat, I'd always put exhaust paste round the actual fitting where the clamps are, because they're not a good seal, so you will get diesel fumes coming into your engine bay or wherever the actual heater is. So always put a bit of exhaust paste round the pipe before you put everything together, and that will seal and stop any fumes coming out. I've used some I don't know if you can see it there. Oh, what am I doing? Hold on. I don't think you can see it, but I've used exhaust lagging to stop the heat coming through, from a place called it's called McCooney Heating in Southampton, and they do all the extras you need. The outlets, the duct, they do the black ducting at about £10 a metre. They do all the outlets you need. Really helpful people, and that's McCooney Heating in Southampton. The outlets, I mean, are £10. The exhaust lagging was £20. That frame was about £8. So there's a lot of little extras to buy, but it all comes, I would say the units are about £120, and you'll spend about the same again on all the extras, depending on what size boat you've got, because I've had to buy quite a bit of ducting to get me into the two cabins and the front bedroom. But for £300 it's absolutely excellent. As I say, these really, I think people have only been fitting them for probably the last 12 months, but we've got to see what they're like after about 2 years, 3 years. But I'd say if anything goes wrong with them, you throw them away and buy another one. At the prices they are, it's, you know, you can afford to do that. But I'd say I've had it now about 3 months and I cannot fault it. I've heard people say they're noisy, they're this, they're that. It's a load of rubbish. They're no noisier than Urbis Bashers. It depends on, again, where you put them. Mine's in my engine bay. At first, where the exhaust was, when it comes out the skin fitting, which again, skin fittings are about £40 or £50, still a lot cheaper than a Urbis Basher one, which, just 1 second, there's my skin fitting, and when I first fitted it, it's made in Britain, and that one was £38, really well made, no heat round the outside, so it's made well, it works well, it does what it's supposed to do. But unfortunately, when I first fitted it, my inlet was just here where my finger is, so of course, bloody idiot, you know, if there's no wind, the heat was coming up, the diesel fumes were coming up and being sucked straight back into the inlet, which give me fumes in the cabs. So I've changed my inlet position to inside the cabin area, down on the floor in the corner there, which it's not noisy. You just hear a slight hum, but nothing offensive, nothing, especially when it's on low, you can hardly hear anything. But yeah, all I can say is if you're thinking of buying one, get one. You won't be disappointed. The price, the way they work, everything's really good about them. And if you've already got an Urbis Basher, they're just literally everything, as far as I know, are more or less, they're the same sizes, the outlet, the inlet, the exhaust pipes. On most of them they're the same sizes, so it's just a matter of swapping one for another. But I can't really think of anything else to say apart from pasting up the exhausts. Everything was quite straightforward. You get a great little LED control with it, which again on YouTube there's a guy that goes through everything and he's really helpful, a guy with glasses. You'll see it, just pump in first time Chinese diesel heater startup, and he tells you everything, how to set them, how to set the time, how to set them coming on and off. The different, you can either have it set on a temperature or how hard I think it's how hard the diesel pump works. Oh yeah, that's another thing with the diesel pump. They give you a tank, but I was going to use the tank, but I didn't in the end. I don't know whether you can see this. All I've done, I've put a T-piece in my fuel line, my diesel fuel line. I don't know whether you can see it. Into the fuel line there, and it's just drawing straight out my main diesel tank, so I haven't got to keep going filling up all the time. But either way, that's a fuel pump there. It goes up over the top of the engine and then over to the actual heater unit itself. Sorry about the wobbly camera, but yeah, that's down there. But I can get to it. I can get to everything quite easily. So that's about it really. So thanks for watching, and if you get one, good luck with it.